everybody, it is Sarah Paikai and Jennifer Kim here in our Unicorn Team video series. Yay!
Love it.
I love it.
Super
if you
fun.
haven't seen the full playlist yet, be sure to check it out. This is wrapping it all up with a bow. Someone wanted to know, how do you build a unicorn team that effortlessly makes everything happen?
Well, if you're looking at me to answer those questions, I think I'm more qualified to ask you the questions.
I love it. I'm here for it.
All right. That's me being a Visionizer, just trying to delegate my job today. Here we go.
Mobilizer in the house. Let's go.
But in all seriousness, a mobilizer is the person who makes this happen.
Yes.
And I think the sense of relief I actually have by taking this card from you, like the energy I feel right now feels so peaceful. Okay, so let's get into it.
All
Okay.
right.
So let's get super practical.
Okay.
What overarching structures need to exist for a unicorn team to actually come together?
That's a really good question. So we have something that we use that we've invented and put together, Jen and I, for the unicorn team, called a sustainable scale dashboard.
Ooh, sexy.
There's basically 10 key types of systems and practices inside of this sustainable scale dashboard that is co-owned by Visionizer, Strategizer, and Mobilizer in different pieces. And this has been tried and true tested through thousands of businesses that we've worked with over the past decade. It is the top 10 things that Visionizer, Strategizers, and Mobilizers has asked us for, that we have created and that they've used and they've loved with wildly successful results. But I will say, if we're going to start anywhere, the most important one to me is that one-page strategic plan that we do. And so the way that we set it up is, we'll strategic plan once a year. We'll fill out this whole one page. That's simple. Okay, that's really key. Visionizers, one page has got to fit on this one page. Okay, and there's a template that we use and a process that we facilitate. But we'll lock ourselves inside of a conference room full of whiteboards for 2 days. We'll bring in all of our unicorn team members that we absolutely adore and anyone else who we feel like is a key stakeholder in the business, and we plan out what our strategic plan is for the year. There are 3 areas that we're tackling: improving financial performance, growing the business, and delivering a superior experience. And so this allows the Visionizer, the Strategizer, the Mobilizer to all weigh in on what our core goals are for the year. And then the very tactical key performance indicators, or KPIs, that we do in order that we map out that show this is how we're going to achieve that goal. So out of all the things, I think if you don't have that yet, you need to start there. If you want access to it, let me know in the comments, because I can get you that template easy peasy, and maybe a little bit of a training.
Okay.
I got stuff on my
See,
sleeve.
I took the card from her. Now she's creating work for herself and loves it. You see this?
I love it. I love it. I feel like it's been so helpful, though, to, you know what they say about the problem with any relationship, including in the unicorn team, with splitting things, meeting halfway. The problem with that is you're never going to agree where that halfway mark is.
Oh, totally.
That part, right?
Yeah.
And so that it's less important that we all agree, more important that we're on the same page, and this literal one page of what the strategic plan is and how we intend to execute it across the year.
And way back in this series, when we talked about Visionizers who are famous for throwing grenades at current projects, this one-page strategic plan is a great tool to put in front of them, even if they throw a tantrum for a little bit, and say, so if we're changing this,
right,
we need to look at what's currently in flight.
Correct.
And the Mobilizer and the Strategizer can help with that because they have the strategic plan.
Correct.
It's a way to recenter crazy. Okay, so I love that.
And sometimes the Visionizer is right. You do need to pivot.
Yes.
But at least now we're making a very conscious agreement that we're all pivoting. It's not, whatever you want means that everything else goes
whatever
out the
Jen
window.
wants, Jen gets, kind of thing. It's not like that on our team. And I've learned, because we use these structures, to know what grenades I'm willing to throw. Okay, to her point, sometimes you have to, because intuitively and intellectually, this is where we need to go.
Yes.
But you need to respect your unicorn team enough and the process enough to go, okay, guys, I don't want to be the big bad wolf, and we have to add this thing, or we need to change this thing, and here's why. A lot of times we don't even say that. Like, it's not their business, that's why. We hear that from a lot of people. They just want to know what the tasks are. And I'm like, actually, they think they only want to know the tasks, but they don't realize Mobilizers and Strategizers, oh gosh, actually, if I knew more, I could help more.
Correct. I can give more input.
Right.
So we can co-create this pivot together
Correct.
instead of chaos.
Hot mess. Yes. So in the unicorn team, who's responsible for the structure creating?
That's a great question. So I also believe that it's the mobilizer. And that's why I'm really passionate about the work that we do at the companies. Because if you've never made this, this is what I was looking for 10 years ago. I was just like, there's got to be something out there that can help me be a better mobilizer. I don't know what I don't know. And so I've done hundreds and hundreds of hours of self-study, learning curriculum, trying things out, doing things with our team, doing things with other people's team, refining the processes. So the Sustainable Scale Dashboard, I'm really proud to say, is like the best of all of those a decade of iterations. So borrow my template. That would be my first suggestion. But yes, I think the mobilizer is responsible to organize and to put these things out and to indoctrinate the team on how to use these modalities so everyone can communicate and stay in flow together.
I wanna put a semicolon on that and say, I hope what you're hearing is the mobilizer is a leader, not just somebody who,
not just a follower,
just not a follower, not somebody
not a yes man.
Stuff, all that.
No.
That they find their voice because it's linked to the values of the company, to this one-page strategic plan, to the things that they know and are confident that they're good at, and how they can contribute. This is what makes people want to do things, because we're not just wanting money in life. We want contribution. All human beings want contribution and belonging. And mobilizer's role in the team is not a dumping ground. Like in so many teams, we see that the mobilizer is the dumping ground. I call that the integrator dump, okay? Because there's another book, Rocket Fuel, which, by the way, I have recommended so much to people, and Sarah has actually studied with the COO of that book.
I love Mark Winter's.
Yeah, and he's great. And if you notice, I felt like there was always a missing link. Number one was the Strategizer link, because they only talk about the visionary and the integrator. And the integrator can basically be anybody. Mm-hmm. And my issue with that is, like, I think that there's three leaders that have clear roles, even if you end up being all three to begin with, which you will be. That so that you can visually understand how to get out of that role and then fully live in your pocket. And the mobilizer's job on the team is to help us get there structurally.
Yes.
You know, and if you're ever in a VIP day with us, or you're working in the unicorn team, or you're in any of our programs, you'll see that as I'm guiding strategy with the Visionizer, Sarah, they always say, magically knows how to pull what we're saying out of the air and like put it into this sustainable scale dashboard. And it's because, number one, she has mastery around it. Her craft is mobilization.
10,000 hours.
Right. And so that's part of it. But the other part is because she has a system to organize it. That we all agree.
We all understand.
Yeah.
You, me, the Strategizer, whoever it is, a client, that we're all on the same page.
That we're all on the same page. That's
so key.
That's
so
where the
key.
momentum comes.
So key, yeah.
That's where the light bulb, that's where like this feeling of peace comes to the Visionizer. Like, oh my God, we all get it? What the hell? And you're still going to mess things up. You will, because, by the way, then you have other humans to deal with, then you have clients, and you have blah, blah, blah. But my point is that you're going to feel peace around your team.
Yes.
And when you feel peace around your team, you trust that even the new ideas that you have will be taken care of. So, okay. So, what part of being a mobilizer is making sure people do what they need to do? Accountability. And not just the team under you, but accountability for the Visionizer, accountability for the Strategizer, accountability for anybody, the stakeholder. What does that look like?
That's such a great question. So I think accountability is so key. It's the most important thing that people can have inside of an organization that keeps it running well. And I've, over the years, taken it one step deeper, where does accountability come from? It comes from when your unicorn team feels empowered to take ownership. And that's the important part, that they, the person, not the position, which we talked about, the position should never change. That's all of it. What's in the position has to get done. But the person in the position, they have to feel empowered. Whether you feel like me as a mobilizer or the Visionizer, whether we feel like we've empowered them or not is irrelevant. They have to feel this sense of being able to connect the dots for themselves of like, oh, I am empowered. And that's the part that is the mentorship, the time, the questions, the processing, the experience of going through the different launches, projects, things that happen that can't be fabricated or replaced by AI. It needs to really just be done, and having that safe space for the team to do that, to grow over time as they really begin to consciously go, oh, I'm empowered to take ownership over this piece of that's mine. And I see how that piece tracks back to the strategic plan for the company. They have this desire to then ask better questions, to get more feedback, to do iterations, to put themselves out there, to do more self-development, more professional development. And that breeds this sense of this company culture of accountability that helps people really get to the goals that they want to hit faster.
Yeah, it feels like co-ownership.
Yes.
You know, and that's where I think it's also, I want you to touch on this because I think as a Visionizer, I'm curious, and I would think that you are too, is like, when you think about accountability, does that mean that if they're doing their job, we'll never have negative feedback for them? Or how do we give them when it's not working? Because now I'm afraid because I want them to feel empowered.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Does that mean I can't get upset when things don't get done right?
Absolutely
how does that work?
Not. Absolutely not. I think there is this agreement that happens across the unicorn team that everyone is able to be their full authentic self. Number one. And number two, that it's not toxic. I mean, I feel like that goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway, just because I don't know the gamut of who's watching this, right? So as long as you are committed to those two premises, you're going to let people just fully be themselves. And that includes expressing positive and negative emotions, and that it's not personal, right? And also that it's not toxic, because I want to be really clear on that, because I see a lot of teams out there, and I'm not going to name them, but I could, that where the interaction is toxic. And it's just like, wow, that doesn't allow people to fulfill the first premise, which is feeling like they can bring their full selves to the party and what they're doing. So as a Visionizer, if you have feedback for your Mobilizer, please don't sit on it, number one. Number two, I think it's really important that you're sorting through what is theirs to hold versus what is your part as well. So the phrasing that we use often, that I do with my team, I always ask two things when things don't go right. I say, okay, so this thing happened here. I start with, what could the company have done better that would have allowed you to finish XYZ, whatever you're accountable for, or do a better iteration, or get it right, or whatever it is, right? What could the company have done? And I let them answer, and I hear them first. And I say, okay, what could you have done that could have prohibited this from happening or gotten ahead of it? That hack that I learned very early on in team management and being used in practice has been super helpful, because I think it really is these two sides. I know sometimes Visionizers are afraid to give feedback because they don't want to crush their Mobilizers. And then on the opposite end, there are sometimes that Visionizers are impatient. Like, oh, you should have known that, or oh, that's a whole why I shouldn't even have to tell you these things. And I'm on the fence about both. I don't think either of those approaches are accurate. I think humans are humans are humans.
Yep.
And we're all hopefully trying the best that we are to move the vision forward. And therefore the dialogue has to make those two assumptions first. And then we need to say what is needed to be said. And that's a whole skill. Navigating hard conversations in of itself is a whole skill.
It's a whole skill.
And
it's a whole thing that we work with our clients on
Yes.
in relation. And we do believe that if you adopt a lot of the structures of the unicorn team, it helps facilitate more productive conversation.
It removes some of the friction.
Right. Because, and what I'm saying is I want to speak from a Visionizer's lens, is you're allowed to still get frustrated. You're allowed to speak your frustration and say, it's about this though, not them. Because we leave people with dignity. So this is not working and I'm frustrated. So how do we solve this? And you can say it with passion. So what I'm saying is you don't have to feel like a meek little mouse now, and that that now your team is your boss. That's not what I'm saying.
We're saying. No.
I'm saying that use the tools to have the conversation. And then say, I'm still super frustrated. That's it. And also work that out with your therapist to some degree too. I mean, like I said in the first video. So anyway, okay, this has been juicy. Am I right?
It's been so good.
So much fun. I'm going to do the same to Sarah.
Rapid
in the
fire.
hot seat,
Let's go.
because she did it to me over 6 videos. So I think it's her turn, right? Okay.
My turn.
So let's get super
Okay.
practical. What overarching structures need to exist for a unicorn team to come together?
All the ones that I've built because they're amazing.
Okay. True. Okay. Who's responsible for creating that structure?
The Mobilizer. Always the Mobilizer.
And what does accountability look like on a unicorn team?
It looks and feels like everybody being equally committed to where we said we all wanted to go and agreed on.
Bam.
My job. We have loved doing this series for you all. I hope that you have loved it too. If you haven't watched or you want to rewatch any of the videos, check out the playlist. Leave us a like, comment, subscribe, share. We will see you very, very soon, and we are sending our best unicorn team vibes to yours.